Welcome to the dark side of real estate, outside area agent edition.
Ooh, what do you mean? I'm Palmer.
So we are in Southwest Riverside County, right? Sometimes we venture into Fallbrook because we love Fallbrook and we love
What you mean by that is, let's be clear, we're Southwest Riverside County, but sometimes we venture into North San Diego
County. Yeah.
and sometimes parts of Orange County.
If it's a very close client, whatever, there's circumstances, right? But for the most part, if we got a lead, we're going to stick in our little bubble and we'll refer it out to our realtor partners around the area. What we see a lot, because there are thousands of agents up here, and what do we say about 1% of the agents do 90% of the business or something, whatever that is, you know? And it's slow for a lot of people. And what I've seen in my last 9 years of real estate, and Mom and you, we've all seen this, is that a lot of San Diego agents will come up here because it's more affordable than in San Diego, right?
Because their clients are moving from San Diego, up to our area.
But because they don't have a lot going on, they are willing to maybe make the trek an hour and a half to come up to our area to sell homes.
Because a lot of times I see them at the open house without their agent.
That brings us into why a lot of them are very lazy and they're very, what was the word that we used for that one guy? Cheap.
Very,
very cheap.
And this isn't all of them.
This is not all of them.
I can give a good example if I have to, but we're dark side, so
we're bagging on the dark side right now. So when it's slow, people will want to come up here, but they won't come up here. They'll do basically anything they possibly can to not have to make the drive. So they'll either send them to the open house, which fair play, it's an open house. Come on over. There's no requirements that you have to also come to the open house.
And that's one of the points of an open house is that
if you can't make it. Yeah. I mean, there could be things I haven't gone to client. I haven't been with my client to go to an open house sometimes because maybe I'm with somebody else that had been booked way in advance, etc.
The best one is to send them when you don't even think it matches their criteria. So you're like, just go check it out.
And, go see if you even like it. So basically what we've seen happen, and it's very popular in South Temecula because commuters want to be in South Temecula, and we see a lot of San Diego
because it goes South Temecula and then immediately northern San Diego County.
Yeah. So we saw this. Mom has a listing in South Temecula, and a lot of San Diego agents were calling on it, but most of them have access. They're cool because we have these things called Supras, which only agents can open, and we can't give out a code. So you have to be with your client to show it. And this agent,
by the way, it's an app on your phone.
$16 a month.
There's a startup fee. I'll give you that. It ain't much.
$50. But if you have to come up here more than once. Like if your client gets an offer accepted, you're there for the first showing. And then it gets accepted, so then home inspection, final walkthrough, and keys.
At minimum.
That's 4 times if there's nothing else going on.
If they see one house and that's it.
Let's call this house was $1 million for 2%. So that's $20,000. And this guy was complaining about how Supra was charging him a $50 activation fee and then $16 a month to come up here one time. And I called him out and I said, well, it's not one time, is it though? And I said, for 2% of that price, like
for $20,000, you'd think you'd make the hour drive
bucks.
like 4 times and pay that amount of money
for 1 month. Yeah. And he just starts getting all sassy that, other agents have accommodated him and, we've had combo codes and all this. But there is no requirement when you list a home that you have to put a combo box on the listing, because that is a risk that the sellers are taking by the listing agent potentially giving out that code to their client and not actually.
You mean the buyer's agent?
Yeah, the buyer's agent. And I mean, we've seen it happen before.
So that code could get passed around. You don't know who people are if they're going to break in. I mean, there are people who rob homes for sale because they have combo boxes and stuff on them. And we've even had people in the past have had that happen.
Yeah.
So I want to point out when he said something, I saw the text where he said that Supra is a scam and whatever, running a scam. Yeah. And it's like, that's an opinion, sure. But the reason I think that's completely invalid is because it is the only system that you have to be a licensed agent to use and you cannot pass it around. It's the most secure. I don't care if it's annoying. It is annoying. I get that when you don't have it.
And when you're not from here, of course it's annoying.
But what's the point of having Century Lock where you pay a monthly still? And it has like the same capabilities as Supra, except you can also have a 1-day code that you pass. So it acts like a combo. Yeah. It defeats the purpose.
It does.
I don't get the point. Yes, it's only a 1-day code. It won't work the next day.
I mean, for us, when we're showing in San Diego County, it works out really well. But it just upsets me because I've talked to a lot of San Diego agents who have Supras. Yeah. If you're going to come up here and have clients up here, get a Supra. It's not my problem that you are a cheapskate, and that just looks bad on you for your client, because
the client never finds out.
No, of course not. But it makes me sad to think, okay, how is he treating that client? He can't even afford $66 to show them houses, which means you don't have enough business going on, which means you are going to do your client a disservice and try and pressure them into writing offers and doing all these different things. And it's horrible because you see it so often.
Yeah.
And
I would like to, on a positive note, to like, if we're talking about around $66 and stuff, something that I see you do that I know a lot of agents don't, you send things like opening escrow gifts, or you bring things to the home inspection, or you will send things. Maybe if it's like a listing that has a lot of time before it can get listed, you might send them some cookies, some goodies. We always send closing gifts. Most agents do and stuff. But the point is like, someone's complaining about less than $100.
You're not getting anything from that guy throughout the transaction.
Yeah, that's crazy to me, because yes, it's not our job to give people gifts and keep them as clients or whatever, but they're making a huge purchase or a huge sale, and sometimes extremely stressful. So you take on something by like being a little extra helpful.
Yeah. I mean, we've elevated our client experience, I think, in the last year to be those people who it's exciting to buy a house with us. It's fun, and it doesn't end with the transaction closing.
Yeah.
We're going to keep sending you stuff until you literally tell me stop it. But who would say stop to sending free things?
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
And parties and free parties and like all these things. And it's 99% of agents don't do that. Mm-hmm. And you just have taken the largest purchase someone's ever going to make and basically just like shoo it away after 30 days. And you're just like, bye. And, we've all maybe accidentally done it in the last few years, not on purpose. We're not perfect, and we're trying to put together a smooth, easy process that everybody's the same. But when you first start, I know it's hard if you don't have like the proper guidance, or this guy's been licensed for a while.
It often is. We've talked about this on other podcasts. It's often people have been doing this for like 20, 30 years, and they're stuck in their ways, and they just love to tell you how much experience they have and how they know better and everything. Yeah. But honestly, a lot of real estate, I think, when it comes to the client handling, like the actual, not the documents, not the negotiating, I'm talking about the actual way that you handle a client and you show your compassion and everything. Well, yeah. I think when people do it for too long and they don't work with others, they forget that it might be their 100th, purchase, but it's this person's first.
Yeah.
And you got to treat everyone like it's their first again. Or it could
be they haven't bought and sold a house in 30 years. So you got to treat it like
it's new first. It's new again.
Yeah. And I know you've made a mistake once on a contract, and you're like, you know what? I'm covering that. I've done it before. You're just like, don't even worry about it. That was my bad. Yeah. I'm going to cover it. Whoopsies.
Yeah.
But I've seen people who don't do that. And they don't take responsibility. But if you're not from here, there are really good agents that are going to take care of your client. Refer them out. Mm-hmm. If you're going to complain about $66, and if
here's a red flag. Here's a red flag. One of these San Diego agents, texted a list of questions, some of them pertaining to the house that makes sense, and one of them was asking about the city's plans.
Yeah. Well, you don't know that because you don't live here.
Because these were questions that came from the client. The message said, my client had some of these questions. If you could help me answer them, right? Yeah. If your agent can't immediately respond to those types of questions, yes, it's not specific to the house or specific to the neighborhood. Like
it's the area.
You're talking about the city.
Yeah.
And your your agent can't answer that.
Yeah.
They don't know the area. And that's okay.
Big red flag,
but that's
though.
a red flag.
Someone's going to be helping you with almost $1 million purchase, and they don't even know what Temecula or Murrieta has planned for the next 5 to 10 years.
What about its history? It's good to know what's already happened, so you can figure out what's going to happen in the future. Because if you know anything about Temecula and its insane growth in the last 20 years, then you might be able to think that there's more coming. You can look at the road work. I mean, a lot of people, like I talked to them on the phone, they didn't even know about the 215 renovations that's happening right now and why that should decrease the amount of traffic and stuff coming from San Diego.
Or how about
blah 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 blah.
Was it? I think it might have been like 3 or 4 years ago. They came out. I went to this city of Temecula. It was the planning about
for their 10-year
plan. Growth. Yeah, and the plan is to connect the express lanes from the 78 all the way up to the 15 at Calhaco that they have right now. So they're slowly going to start moving it together, which is going to be insane for commuters. But I guarantee you, most people don't know that. Most people don't know that. I've told loads of clients, and they're like, what?
It's also worse before it gets better, because obviously with all the construction, that means more traffic. And once it's done, it means less, but it's like you have to live through that. Like right now, I think we all feel a little insane going from Temecula going north at like 5 or 6 p.m. Or going from San Diego back. Like, girl, I hate going to San Diego unless I time it very specifically.
Yeah, you know, of course. I hate it too, but it doesn't make me hate the area.
No, but it's because you know what's happening. Yeah. And if you're not from around here and let's say you just visit here for a day. Let's say you fly in from another state and this is your experience. Without any knowledge or any support from an agent of the area, you're not going to know anything.
And you're going to be like, this sucks.
You can maybe read some things on like those Facebook pages and whatnot. You might be able to find some information, do your own research. But isn't that your agent's job?
Yeah. You're supposed to know. You're supposed to know what to do around here, for sure.
Yeah.
And, again, we've known agents who are great that have worked up here. But I think since there's such a huge influx, and again, there are a lot of good agents in this area, that it's just no need. Unless it's like your family or a good friend, I get why you would use someone from there. But if you're looking up in this area and you're trying to use an agent who lives in south of
Chula Vista, I don't know.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Go on Google. Research some agents,
because purchases are different than sales. Like when it comes to listing, when you're buying a home, there's a lot more knowledge that you need from that buyer's agent, right? Like I'd argue that you can have a listing agent be more successful even if they're not from that exact like couple mile radius or whatever, and you could still have a lot of, because it's the market for that, right? Like you might not leave that much money on the table. With a buyer's agent, like you might overbid because you don't know the area. Like you might just assume, like a lot of these San Diego agents were assuming there was like these crazy amount over asking offers, but with that specific house, it was actually priced on the higher side. So no, but they didn't know the area.
Yeah, they didn't even like ask either.
It's just
communication is such a big piece of it. So, but anyway, but then I also see it rolls into even the listing side of things when they're doing their client a disservice. I was on the MLS, the multiple listing service, for anybody who wants to know. And there was an agent who listed a house in Spencer's Crossing in Murrieta. And I looked her up. She was from Orange County. I think her address was like Newport. She put in the private remarks that this was a Taylor Morrison build.
That gets you so hard. It irritates you so much.
Yeah, because her client doesn't even know she's marketing her property as a lower quality builder that did not exist in Spencer's Crossing. It did not exist. There was Brookfield. There was KB. There was
But can't you
Party
find
Homes.
out from title who, like...
Yeah, it's on tax records.
It's very clear who the builder was.
Yeah.
It's like she just pulled it out of her butt.
She just pulled it out of her butt.
Taylor
Morrison is a very like low quality builder, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just what you see is what you get with them.
Yeah,
which
not
is
the crazy upgrades and
affordable
whatever.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But in Spencer's Crossing,
and the
they
price
did not
of that
exist.
House, that wasn't a very high priced home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in the sevens or something like that.
Yeah.
But no,
plus high taxes and stuff.
Taylor Morrison wasn't in there. I think there was a ton of really good quality builders. They were out there. I think Lennar was out there once and whatever. But the point is it made me just, get so mad. I'm like, you're paying this person to know nothing about your house.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to find and do some research. And it could have, one of my friends was like, what do you have against Orange County? And I go, it's not Orange County in particular. They just happen to be from Orange County. They could have been from LA. They could have been from San Diego. Shoot, they could have even been from here. And I still would have put them on blast about how ridiculous that is.
I know. It's like the cell phone pick thing. It's just like, it's crazy to me.
That's why, I mean, we're pretty listing heavy. We do a very good equal amount of buyers versus listings. But when you list your house with us, like, we're going to know what we're doing. We're going to know the area. And if we're just
we do our research. We do our research. Like if you have solar, I want to see that solar contract. I want to make sure that it's transferable. I want to make sure what the payment is. I want to make sure that it's not going to hold up escrow. Yeah. Where's the NHD report? We're in a high fire zone. Do we gotta like weed a little bit? What's happening?
We don't want to wait until it's too late.
Let's get that prelim. Are there HOA liens? Are there liens on the house? Or do we got that one of those crazy hero liens? Yeah. Like you got to do your research. Yeah. And it's crazy because so many people, that one time we already talked about that I got into escrow and we had to cancel because there was a title issue. Yeah. That could have been prevented had you just pulled the prelim before you listed it.
Yeah, as soon as we sign our listing agreements, you pull the prelim, we do the NHD, we do
sometimes termite.
If we can, we'll do termite. Septic, if there's septic or whatever, we'll do all of that because we don't want surprises. Yeah. Coming through.
And we regret it every time. Like every time our client's like, I don't really want to do that yet, whatever. Yeah. Regrets because
regrets.
We got some regrets. Because it could have been just handled before.
Yeah. Well, and it goes even so like if we slide into, being a good buyer's agent and we have I'm working with someone, we just got into escrow for 2 years. I've been working with them, right? Not picky. They're just very particular about what they were looking for, and it just did not exist over the last couple of years.
Low inventory.
Very low inventory. Look when you're looking for something very, very niche. It's just
this is your sign. Don't compromise if you have time. That's okay.
Yeah, if you got time, and it's just frustrating to see because the rates are high. What's coming back is the marry the house, date the rate kind of BS. And I swear to God, if I hear that one more time, I know. It's stupid because that's not true.
Because you need to act like that rate's never going to go down because there is no assurance. No. You know what? My husband.
Yeah. Vault Financial.
Rick Hancock. Vault Financial. He had a presentation. He had a presentation today where he was talking about, like some people, it makes more sense for them to rent for their primary and own investments and, talking about the interest. There was a lot of things. So I want to touch base on investments as well. But, he said over the last 40 years, the average interest rate has been 8.1%. Yeah. And then I heard him say, we're still under the national average. We're still under that last 40 years. And so we were talking about this in the car, people who have bought and sold homes over the years through different market crashes, different rates. The rate doesn't the rate is the rate. What do you can buy it down?
It will never go.
But it might go over that 8.1. Right now we're under it. So, if you can afford it, you can afford it.
Again, it goes back to not being house poor, but as a buyer's agent, being educated on the market conditions. And if someone is scared of that payment and they think that they're not going to be able to hold on to it for a certain amount of time, I look at them and I said, don't buy the house. Don't do it. Let's wait till you're ready because there's no assurances that this, let's call it 7% rate is going to go down to 6%. Yeah. There are no assurances. Yeah. And it's just skeeves me these salespeople keep saying this. And I'm like, it's not true. It's not true.
I think there's always a little bit of truth in any advertising technique, right? Yeah. And for some people that is the truth because maybe, if you get lucky like the last few years, you can afford that payment. And when you can't, you've earned it, you've accumulated enough equity that you can sell it and make some money anyway. Yeah. So that might be true for you, but that does not mean it's true for the entire population. Yeah. And I'm one of those people right now. I sold my primary. I made a lot of money on my equity, and now I'm buying investments. You know, my husband and I made the executive decision for the next few years to focus on accumulating rentals in areas that make sense for us, which is unfortunately out of state. Sorry, California. Like,
hey, I put an offer on an out of state property.
You already own another one too. You own one in Alabama. And so we're owning properties out of state because they're more landlord friendly and the prices are lower. So you don't need as much out of pocket. But it's really about what are you making after rent and whatever. Someone's paying the mortgage.
Yeah, and like that goes into like a whole
we'll talk
topic
about a
of
whole other thing.
investments. But yeah.
So
but basically,
so the point is like do what works for you.
Yeah.
But like being house poor and suffering through payments just in the hopes that it might go down or something makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. So if you're looking to buy a home, right, and you're looking at an agent, I would definitely say interview a few. But if one gives you any red flags of being pushy or starts telling you that, no, you know, rates are definitely going to go down, and ain't nobody got a crystal ball up in here. Because let me tell you, if I had a crystal ball, do you think I'd be sitting here? No, I would be in the south of France.
Billionaire.
I would have been a quadrillionaire, and I would be living in my bathing suit on the beach.
Yeah.
So no, none of us have crystal balls, and it's BS when people say that. Yeah. So just if you keep hearing that, run. It's okay to fire people and get a new agent.
Yeah, I know. Run away. Well, especially with a buyer's agent. I mean, it's funny because, so I think you're really good about this. And actually, I would say mom's really good about this too. But, you know, when it comes to like before your house search process, right? A lot of people are like, I want a $500,000 house. That's my criteria, whatever. And then you ask them like, where'd you get that number? Where are you coming up with that? Oh, you're all cash. You know, that's your limit. Cool.
Yeah.
Most people, however, it's just a number that they thought made sense
from looking online.
However,
or something and like was doing some tools and
right.
But it's never right.
Because when you actually have them speak to a lender like Rick and who works backwards, because they have to figure out, what are you making? What's your credit score? Blah, 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 blah. Oh. And you work backwards to figure out your monthly payment. It doesn't actually matter what the price of the home is. Because you care about your payment.
Yeah, because you could be approved for $1 million, but if you don't want that $1 million payment, like I've talked to some of my clients.
Or the down payment that comes with that price.
Yeah, I have one. She's approved for $1 million. Doesn't want to spend that. Wants to spend like maybe $750 or something like that. That'll keep them where they want to be. But I even had a client who thought his credit score was 720. Turns out it's 610. That's because he was looking online at some of these valuation tools for your credit score, and it is so wrong. So that's why it is so important to talk to a lender.
Talk to professionals, and multiple at that. Oh my goodness, do not go with the first lender you talk to. I don't care what company they work with and how many ads you've seen and how amazing they seem to be. Get multiple opinions, because you will find out that and we've seen it, sometimes the person that's making you not afford that house is the lender.
Yeah.
Because they're charging you so much.
So if you contact us, because we've got the peoples.
We got the peeps.
Got the peoples. So